For folks that are not aware, I'm sorry to be the bringer of bad news, but I imagine most of you that care already know about this. This is from Variety.com, and the title reads: Norm Macdonald, comedian and Saturday Night Live star, dies at 61. Norm Macdonald, the deadpan comedian, actor, writer, and Saturday Night Live star, has died after a battle with cancer. Variety has confirmed. He was 61. That's pretty young, man. That's pretty young. That sucks. Macdonald privately battled the disease for almost a decade. Says, quote, Norm was an original. He defined American humor with honesty and blunt force. Jeff Dennis, president of DPN Talent and one of Macdonald's reps, told Variety in a statement. Says dozens of comedians, including Seth Rogen, Jon Stewart, Ron Funches, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, and Jeff Gaffigan paid tribute to Macdonald. Sorry, I'm not familiar with those two folks. I am familiar with Seth Rogen and Jon Stewart, though. Said one of the greatest comedians to have ever lived was among the tributes that was a tribute to him. Said the comedian got his start in showbiz as a writer on Roseanne in 1992. After making rounds at comedy clubs in Canada. He joined the cast of Saturday Night Live in 1993, and the next year began his memorable stint as Weekend Update anchor until early 1998, when he was replaced by Colin Quinn. Macdonald was known for his dry humor, non sequiturs, and impressions of Burt Reynolds, David Letterman, Larry King, Quentin Tarantino, and many more during his 5-year run on the show. He did a great Bob Dole, too. I remember he did a great Bob Dole. Macdonald anchored Weekend Update during the O.J. Simpson trial, where he delivered one of his most memorable jokes at the top of the episode following Simpson's acquittal. Quote, well, it's finally over. Murder is legal in the state of California. After his removal from Weekend Update, Macdonald actually accused NBC exec Don Olemheimer of firing him over his controversial Simpsons jokes, though the Olemheimer actually cited poor ratings. He denied that. After Saturday Night Live, Macdonald created The Norm Show with Bruce Helford on ABC, which ran from 1998 until 2001. The comedian starred as Norm Henderson, a hockey player who was banned for life from the NHL because of gambling and tax evasion. So he must perform 5 years of community service as a social worker. And they have some listings of some of the other folks that were in the cast. In the 90s, Macdonald appeared in films like Billy Madison, The People versus Larry Flint, and Eddie Murphy's Dr. Dolittle as the voice of Lucky the Dog. In 1998, he starred in the film Dirty Work, directed by Bob Saget, based on the Roald Dahl short story. Again, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. About two friends who raised money to pay for heart surgery for one of their fathers by starting a revenge for hire business. And among the cast of that was actually Chris Farley. Many others. This had cameos by Don Rickles, Adam Sandler, John Goodman, and more. Said he went on to provide voice work in the Dr. Dolittle sequels and other animated films and shows. He voiced Lieutenant Yaphet, a gelatinous shape-shifting engineer on Fox sci-fi comedy The Orville, starring Seth MacFarlane. A third season of the show is set to release on Hulu. I wonder if, one thing I haven't heard, Dave, is I wonder if he recorded his part for The Orville. Had you heard anything about that?
I'd seen a lot of them, like Seth MacFarlane and different people doing things to memorialize and celebrate his life, with his passing. But I be honest with you, I didn't notice if they said if he had completed any voice work yet for the third season of The Orville.
I'd really like to know that. I mean, I would think that Seth would mention that he would put that out there one way or the other, so folks could either know that, hey, we're not getting it, or we have one last piece of work to look forward to. You know what I mean?
Right.
From Norm Macdonald. I'd be really curious. I wish PJ was on here. Maybe PJ would have the scoop from Orville Nation about whether that's going to be a thing or not. Mott says he heard he finished the part. So Mott says I heard they finished this part. So that's good news if that's the case. Mott, if you have a source for that, please let us know too. If you have a source for that, because I think that would be obviously a nice little legacy of his career and something to look forward to, because Orville's a good show, and that's something that we've promoted and things like that, and so I think that would be really awesome if at least we have that to look forward to. But I was pretty shocked about this. He had Norm Macdonald had apparently kept his illness private. My understanding is that he had cancer for like a decade, and he just kept it to himself. He wasn't out there talking about it, and this was very sudden for a lot of people. Even people that were close to him didn't really realize he was sick. You know what I mean? But some people are like that. Some people they want their privacy, and they're not out there, telling everybody. It's personal choice, right? It's personal choice.
Well, it makes me think of what happened with Chadwick Boseman. I mean, they could,
right.
You could tell from the paparazzi photos that something was wrong, but no one knew what was happening, and then all of a sudden he was gone, that's what I thought of when I was hearing about what happened with Norm Macdonald. The fact that he'd been living with it for quite some time and no one really knew.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty shocking in that regard. I was shocked when I heard that he had passed.
Yeah,
because I just hadn't heard anything. And what's funny is, just the previous week, I was on a Norm Macdonald binge on YouTube the other day. So like just last week, I was on this binge, and I was looking at a lot of his old bits from Weekend Update, and it was like this thing of all of his OJ jokes. And man, they were brutal. They were awesome. You know what I mean? And I totally believe actually that's the reason he got fired. You know what I mean? So I'm on Norm's side on this one. I generally am not on the executive side anyway. So you know what I mean? Mott says Macdonald died on September 14th, 2021 of cancer after the filming of season 3 had concluded, but in the middle of its post-production, leaving Yappett's status actually uncertain. And Mott has cited that's OrvilleFandom.com. And that's, I guess, the wiki for Norm Macdonald too. So, well, that's tough. That kind of sucks. If they, I wonder what they would do if they would just recast him. If they already have, they've already filmed, they've done the principal photography, and they just never were, they just haven't added the voice. I think they would have to recast it, right? I mean, what else would they be able to do? That kind of sucks, but
yeah, I don't.
That's a weird. That might be why Seth isn't saying anything. That's a tough problem, because if they've already shot it, you know what I mean. They've already shot the parts, and it's already done. That kind of sucks. I mean, I don't think they have any choice. Yeah, Seth might do it. Asia says that I could see that, but that is a tough thing. That I think that would be a tough thing, and it's a tough thing to market too, because a lot of people are like, oh no, you can't do that. You know what I mean? But that kind of sucks. That does suck. That's a tough position to be in. If I was producing the Orville, I would be like, oh, this sucks. This really sucks. What are we supposed to do? Huh? If it was my call, I would say we just got to recast the voice. There's nothing else we can do. The character lives on, right? So again, this is some tough news. The other thing that was funny, Dave, about this also, I mentioned that I was on a Norm Macdonald kick very recently. The day that I found out that he died, it was on Tuesday, and I've been trying to work out, and I've got a trial membership at a gym, and I was on one of those one of those machines, one of those treadmill machines, right? And it has its own TV. And I actually was trying to find something to watch, on TV while I was doing this. And wouldn't you know it, Billy Madison was on. And so it was really funny. Like, so Billy Madison was on, and then right after I got done is when I found out about this. So I just thought that was just weird. It's kind of, kind of serendipitous. You know what I mean? Like the fact that
Yeah.
you know, because Norm Macdonald's in that movie, and so yeah, it's kind of neat, kind of interesting.
Yeah, you know, he was such a great comedian, and he's done, you know, so much great stuff. And 61 definitely to me seems too soon. Um, you know, and I quite liked his character of Yaphet on Orville, and it was interesting too because the first couple of episodes I wasn't too sure about all that, um, and as it went on, I came to really like the character and look forward to when he was on screen. And by the end of the second season, I mean, Yaphet had actually established himself as a, you know, a like an asset to the crew and a hero, and so it really, really, you know, just all the way around. Um, it's just amazing what he was able to do, you know, with that character. Um, and Yeah, it just really sucks. Just got too many great people going way too soon.
Yeah, it's definitely a shame. And again, it's just one of those things that I think took a lot of people off guard. They just didn't realize that the man was having problems. You know, so. Um, Yeah, I'll always remember him. I think the most for Weekend Update. I mean, for the Saturday Night Live era, that's really where I was into him. You know, so
And see, for me, when I think back on Norm Macdonald, I can't not think about the Jeopardy stuff with him as Burt Reynolds because that stuff was
that's a
so
good one too.
hilarious.
That's a good one
You
too.
know,
Yeah,
and everything about that bit is great. The guy doing Connery is great. Will Ferrell, you know, like everyone is so great. Like that's the thing. Those Jeopardy bits are just so on point and they're so hilarious, just all across the board.
yeah.
And that Burt Reynolds is, it's weird because it just totally seems like Burt Reynolds too. You know, I mean, it's just God, it's so great. So this
I don't
stuff
think
is
Burt
great.
Reynolds himself really liked it though. I'll say that. You know,
I
so
don't care. It's highly entertaining. So
I did see that was neat that Bob Dole actually did a tweet. And so obviously he took it all in good fun because I always thought he did a pretty funny impression of Bob Dole. So um, yeah, as you said, gone too soon, but we
yeah,
definitely wanted to remember him here on the show. I think that his impact on comedy will remain because I think he's one of those guys that's a comedian's comedian. Like a
yeah,
comedian, even when we didn't get the joke as the public, the inside joke was obviously there. That's something I think he was also known for. It's like nobody was laughing except like his friend in backstage for some of his jokes because it's pretty funny sometimes to watch him because of some of his performances. I mean, it's like no reaction, you
right.
know. So because he had a very weird sense of humor. So I think in a lot of ways he was that comedian's comedian, and nobody else really got the joke, you know. So
Yeah.
and I think he'll be known for that.